Started today. We are breaking down the book Think and Grow Rich. I do not own the rights to this music, so I am going to shut it off. This is Brian Culbertson. Get it on. But anyway, guys, let's get into the book. As I told you guys before, over and over again, once a year, I make a point of rereading all of my favorite books. Think and Grow Rich is definitely one of them. It is a go-to, and it's so important, guys. It's so important that every time I read this book, I get a whole new understanding of the book. And so, what I decided to do this year was I decided to go ahead and do videos breaking down the 150 books that I use to help me to achieve success in my life. That's right, guys. Success in my life and to continually grow and have a good life. And that's what it's all about, guys. Because I know that we always talk about money, and money is very important to live uh, part of the life that you want, but it's not everything, guys. There are other components of life, man. You know, the spiritual and the peace of mind and the relationships and I am wealthy in all aspects. You know what I mean? So I want to help you guys to achieve those things in your life so that you can be fulfilled and happy, right? So let's get into it. Okay, we're talking about once again Think and Grow Rich, and we are talking about the brain, guys. I jumped right into the whiteboard, did not even waste any time. Had the whiteboard up when you guys came on because this is a short chapter. It is a short chapter on the brain. And you want to know why it's a short chapter on the brain? Because even to this day, as mankind, we know very little about the brain. Now, in this chapter, they call the brain the broadcasting and receiving station for thought. And it's the 12 step toward riches. Now, many years ago, right, the late Dr. Alexander Graham Bell and Dr. Elmer Gates, they both observed that every human brain is both a broadcasting and a receiving station for the vibration of thoughts. Now, this is many, many years ago, right? Maybe uh, 70, 80, almost 100 years ago now. And these guys figured that out. Now, if you guys go back and look at the chapter on imagination, right? I've done a video on that, guys. I'll leave the link in the comments. If you guys go back to the chapter on imagination, it is the creative imagination, which is the receiving set of the brain. Remember, I told you guys back in the chapter on imagination how um, geniuses, through creative imagination, connect with infinite intelligence. This is a fact. This is true, guys. This is going on in every genius's brain, and it can happen for you. You can create that genius in your brain. That's right. Now that is the receiving set of the brain, and which receives thought released by other brains. How about that? That is powerful. Could you imagine, right? Somebody has a brilliant thought and they release it into the atmosphere, and you, in your communication and the power of your brain, receive that thought through your creative imagination, and now you have a brilliant idea. Now, two people are now working on brilliant ideas. This is outstanding, guys. This is incredible stuff. Now, next, let's get into it. It is also, right, the brain is also the agency of communication between one's conscious, okay, or reasoning mind and the four sources from which one may receive thought stimuli. We talked about the thought stimuli, negative thought stimuli, positive thought stimuli. If you guys look back, I'll leave another link for that as well so you guys can check that out because we've already gone through that chapter, but we're going to bust through this. Um, what I want to say is this, right? When stimulated, right? Or stepped up is the term that Napoleon Hill used to a higher rate of vibration, the mind becomes more receptive to thought, which reaches it through outside sources. So the more you're excited, guys, the more you're excited. Do you hear what I'm saying? The more you're excited, the more receptive your brain becomes to outside thoughts. It, it gravitates toward those, uh, it's just electrical impulses, energy, power, guys. Now, the stepping up process takes place through positive emotions or negative emotions. We talked about that, right? We want to influence our life through positive emotions. Okay, so through the emotions, the vibrations of a thought may be increased. So as you increase your emotions, the vibration increases, okay, and you're more perceptive in the use of your brain power, that receiving station, that creative imagination. Now, understand, right, the power in this statement that I just said. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to write it out for you guys. You know, I love writing it out because I think it's very, very important here. I'll bring it over here. Okay. Now, we're talking about the stepping up process, right? I'm going to shrink this, make it small so it all fit here. Okay, so the stepping up process takes place through positive or negative emotions, right? So, through the emotions, you hear me? Through the emotions, right? Which is why we all need to be in control of our emotions. The vibrations of thought may be increased. I think that is a powerful statement worth you guys screenshotting it, leaving it on your mirror, and understanding that being in control of your emotions is very vital in changing your life. Now, the emotion of sex stands at the head of the list of human emotions, as by far when it comes to the intensity or the driving forces of man are concerned. Now, in the brain, which has been stimulated by the emotion of sex, functions at a much more rapid rate than it does when that emotion is absent. Okay, now hear me out, guys. I'm not talking about the physical, okay, sex. Don't get all giggly on me, guys, right? I'm talking about the emotion of sex. It is a difference, and it is a powerful, powerful statement. And we're going to get into this a lot deeper when I'm breaking down the brain and how you guys need to understand what I am talking about here. I'm not talking about the physical act. All right. Now, the result of sex transmutation is the increase of thoughts to such a pitch, right? Through sexual transmutation, such a pitch that the creative imagination becomes highly receptive to ideas. So that is what we're doing, guys. We're taking the emotion, one of our higher rated emotions, top rated positive emotions, we're transmuting it to get the energy from it And that energy causes our creative imagination to vibrate at that higher rate. When it vibrates at that higher rate, whoa, that is when you begin to get hunches and ideas, that things that pop into your mind through infinite intelligence, guys. This is how it goes. Now, on the other hand, right, when the brain is functioning at a rapid rate, it not only attracts thoughts and ideas released by other brains, right, but it gives to one's own thoughts that feeling, which is essential. The feeling is essential before those thoughts will be picked up and acted upon by one's subconscious mind. So here you go, guys. When you are in control of your emotions and you can increase your rate of energy, that vibration, through one of the positive emotions, guys. As I told you, the negative emotions, they show up when they feel like it. They're like a bad relative who just shows up at a party even when you don't invite him, right? But anyway, the positive emotions, when you guys are in control of those, especially the strongest of all emotions of the sexual transmutation, when these are used in conjunction with the creative imagination, you are now communicating with your subconscious mind directly, guys. This is how, geniuses are made. This is how great ideas come about. So let's break this down, right? The subconscious mind is the sending station of the brain through which the vibrations of the subconscious mind of thought are broadcast. So the subconscious mind broadcasts the thoughts from your brain. So the creative imagination is the receiving set through which the energies of thought are picked up. The subconscious mind is the sending set. So here we go again, guys. And I'm gonna break this down. Your mental broadcasting station, and I'm gonna put a note so you guys can know, right? Because this is important. This is what we want to do, guys. We want to be in control of our minds, our thoughts, to drive us in a direction that gives us a better life, guys, that gives us a better life. So, in breaking down your mental broadcasting station, the operation of this station is comparatively to many things a simple procedure. Now, there are three principles to bear in mind. We're going to talk about this much later. So, the three principles, I'm going to put this in a list instead. So, three principles. Okay. To apply when controlling your mental broadcasting station. So, it's the three principles to apply. All right. The first principle is, guys, if you haven't known this already, it's the subconscious mind. The next principle is creative imagination. And the last principle is auto-suggestion. Okay. These three principles applied properly. What am I doing here? Get back in there. There we go, guys. I'm gonna figure this whole thing out eventually. All right. When you wish to use your broadcasting station, right? You apply these three principles: your subconscious mind, your creative imagination, and auto-suggestion. And and then you begin to communicate to your mind the things that you will want to have in your life through these principles. Now, as we talk about the brain, as mankind, period, right? We have depended too much on our physical senses. When we talk about physical senses, I mean, we have limited knowledge of the brain, obviously, but we limited our knowledge also to the physical things we can see, we can touch, right? We can weigh or we can measure. And that is what we limited most of our brain power toward. But what we have slowly learned through the hundreds of years of study is that our other self, right? Our other self, that conscience, our other self is more powerful than the physical self that we see when we look into the mirror. Think about that, guys. Our other self is more powerful than the physical self we see when we look in the mirror. You guys think I should write that down? I think we should write that down, guys. I'm going to put this in quotes too. Our other self is more powerful, right, than the physical self. That statement in itself should tell you guys that you need to do a whole lot more work, right, on your mind than you do than your body. I mean, I love to stay in shape, right? I run, I do spin bike, I work out, I lift weights, and that's all important. Very, very important, as a matter of fact. But also, what's very, very important is that other self, your mental, your mindset, all of that needs to have constant physical workouts. You need to put that through the ringer, up in your game, level after level. Okay, guys? Now, in knowing this, with this statement that I just made, we all are reminded, okay, that all of us are controlled by forces which are unseen and untangible. Now, think about that. You be like, what forces am I controlled of that are unseen and untangible? And I'll just give you guys a few simple ones. How about the ocean, right? As massive as the ocean is, the waves of the ocean. Have we truly learned how to master the waves of the ocean? And I'm not talking about that man could take a boat and a ship and float on water. I'm talking about mastering the waves. The waves still, during hurricanes and storms, crush our beaches and crush our homes and take lives constantly, year after year, guys. Or how about gravity? Gravity, guys. Do we really understand the intangible forces of gravity? Of how our earth that we live on right now is suspended in air, suspended in air, right? And rotating at a level of where us as human beings, we're not flying off of it. Think about it. Intangible forces that we have not even begun as mankind to tap into, right? And of course, obviously, last but not least, right? Thought. The intangible impulses of thought. The greatest of all intangible impulses, guys. Just think of this, right? It has already been determined that there are from 10 billion to 16 billion nerve cells in the human cerebral cortex. Right? Those are facts. Google it if you want. And these are all arranged in definite patterns, not by mistake, not by haphazardly. Our brains have been designed. So just think of this, guys. 10 to 16 billion, okay, nerve cells. Billions, right? Now, knowing this inconceivable amount of nerve cells, right? How could you just think, right, that our brain was made only, right, to operate our physical body and the basic functions of breathing and and I don't know, blood flow and everything else. I mean, how could you think that, right? Our brain is so spectacular that it has a much, much bigger job than just the simple functions of our physical body. So understand that, guys. Now, in doing this chapter was very, very short. It was impact and it was powerful. But I want you guys to know that there are three things that you guys need to do, okay, in order to wrap up this chapter and make the most of understanding your brain. The first thing I need you guys to do is go back to the chapter on the subconscious mind, right? It is very, very important, guys, that you reread this chapter and understand the importance of communicating with the subconscious mind, doing the steps that it takes, guys, in order to grow and to understand. This is what we do, guys. We grow and we understand to get better. The next thing I need you guys to do is go back to the chapter on imagination, guys. The chapter on imagination. Reread the chapter on imagination and learn how to tap into the creative imaginations of the mind, guys, the creative imaginations of the mind to allow you to use your creative imagination. So that you guys can now communicate with other brains as well as infinite intelligence, guys. These are works that most people don't do. They leave it to chance. Guys, I'm telling you, you cannot leave your life to chance. You have to step up your game. You have to do physical homework and mental homework in order to have the life that you want. So you guys are going to have to do some reading. You're going to have to do some studying. You're going to have to do some meditation. You're going to have to do some deep thinking, guys. You got to get these muscles working. And the last one is go back to the chapter on auto suggestion. Now, me personally, I read this short chapter on auto suggestion every single night to embed in me the principles that are used in auto suggestion in order to manipulate my subconscious mind, okay, to communicate to with my creative imagination so that it can tap into the powers of infinite intelligence to give me the life that I want. These are all works of geniuses, guys. Geniuses do this kind of work. Okay, and if you guys want to walk amongst the realm of geniuses, you're going to have to do what geniuses do. If you guys want to have a better life, you're going to have to do the things, okay, that people with better lives do. Now, understand this, and I'm going to end this with a quote, guys. The ladder of success, right, is never crowded at the top. Okay. Now, you guys have a great night. Hope you enjoyed this session on the brain. Tomorrow, right, we are going to get into, guess what? The 13th step, guys, the sixth sense. Think and Grow Rich. We are growing. We have moved through this book rapidly. Hope you guys got a bunch of good information through these 13 principles. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about the sixth sense, guys. So when we're done with tomorrow's sixth sense, I want you guys to come back and read this chapter on the brain and begin to understand what I'm going to talk to you about. I really didn't get into it today, but I wanted to talk about telepathy and clairvoyance and how you can create a mind using those principles, guys. So anyway, I will see you tomorrow, guys. You have a great night. All right. Bye-bye.